The Curse of the Dibbuk Box, a first-hand account. All the events I'm about to describe are true and can be verified with the copies of hospital records and sworn affidavits that I have included as part of the sale of the cabinet. In September of 2001, I attended an estate sale in Portland, Oregon. The items were from the estate of a woman who had passed away at the age of 103. A granddaughter of the woman told me that her grandmother was born in Poland, grew up, married, and raised a family there until she was sent to a Nazi concentration camp during World War II. She was the only member of her family who survived. She escaped with some other prisoners and somehow made her way to Spain, where she lived until the end of the war. She acquired a small wine cabinet in Spain, one of only 3 items she brought to the United States when she immigrated. The other 2 items were a steamer trunk and a sewing box. I purchased the wine cabinet, along with the sewing box and some other furniture at the estate sale. After the sale, the woman's granddaughter approached me and said, "I see you got the Dibbuk Box." I asked her what a Dibbuk Box was, and she told me that when she was growing up, her grandmother always kept the wine cabinet in her sewing room, always shut and out of reach. Her grandmother called it the Dibbuk Box and said it contained a Dibbuk and kesselim. The box was never to be opened. The granddaughter said her grandmother had asked for the box to be buried with her, but this was against the rules of an Orthodox Jewish burial. When I offered to let her keep it as a sentimental keepsake, she became insistent, saying, "You bought it. You made a deal." She became upset, raised her voice, and finally asked me to leave, walking away in tears. I wrote it off as stress and grief. At the time, I owned a small furniture refinishing business. I took the cabinet to my store, intending to refinish it and give it to my mother. After about half an hour, I got a frantic call from my salesperson. She was hysterical, screaming about an intruder breaking glass and swearing in the workshop. She said the intruder had locked the security gates and the emergency exit, and she couldn't get out. As I told her to call the police, my cell phone battery died. I rushed back to the shop at top speed. When I arrived, the gates were locked. I found my employee sobbing in a corner. The basement lights didn't work because all the light bulbs had been broken. There was a strong odor of cat urine, though no animals had ever been in the shop. I found no intruder, and there was no way anyone could have left without running into me. My employee never returned to work, refusing to discuss the incident. I didn't associate the events with the cabinet until things got worse. 2 weeks later, I started refinishing the cabinet and found a mechanism that caused the opposite door and a drawer to open when one door was opened. Inside were a 1928 US wheat penny, a 1925 US wheat penny, a lock of blonde hair, a lock of black/brown hair, a granite statue with Hebrew letters spelling Shalom, a dried rosebud, a golden wine cup, and a strange black iron candlestick holder with octopus legs. I kept the items in a box, intending to return them to the estate, but the family refused them. On my mother's birthday, October 28, 2001, I gave her the wine cabinet. She liked it and examined it while I made a phone call. 5 minutes later, an employee told me something was wrong with my mother. I found her sitting expressionless with tears streaming down her face. She had suffered a stroke and lost her ability to speak and move partially. The next day, she spelled out HATGFT when I asked how she was doing. I laughed it off, not associating it with the cabinet. I gave the cabinet to my sister, who returned it after a week, complaining that the doors wouldn't stay closed. My brother and his wife kept it for 3 days before returning it, saying it smelled like jasmine and cat urine. My girlfriend asked me to sell it after 2 days. I sold it to a couple, but it was returned 3 days later with a note saying, "This has a bad darkness." I took it home. Then the nightmares began. I dreamt of walking with a friend who transformed into a gruesome, demonic hag that beat me. I woke up with bruises and marks. My siblings and girlfriend had the same nightmares whenever the cabinet was in their homes. We realized the common denominator was the cabinet. Strange things started happening. I saw shadowy figures in my peripheral vision. The smell of cat urine followed the cabinet. One night, the smoke alarm in my storage unit went off. There was no smoke, but the smell of cat urine was there. When I brought the cabinet back inside, my house smelled like jasmine, and I saw a huge shadow figure. I wanted to destroy the cabinet but feared releasing whatever was inside. I decided to sell it on eBay, hoping someone knowledgeable would take it. I have no reserve price and no minimum bid. I hope someone can help me. I ended the auction with the hope that the winning bidder would understand the risks. I had no further involvement after the sale, but I'll never forget the horrors that cabinet brought into my life. Like, share and subscribe to the channel for watching more interesting videos.